so we are going to bring two amazing women up on stage. The first woman was selected first overall in the 2012 WNBA draft to the LA Sparks. She was the 2012 Rookie of the Year, 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-WNBA selection, 2016 MVP, and won a championship with the LA Sparks, just to name a few of her many accomplishments. She is an advocate for equality, opportunity, women's empowerment, and health and wellness, and is currently serving as president of the WNBA Players Association. Please welcome Nneka Ogwumike.
Hello.
Y'all I'm feeling the
Did I nail it?
Nneka. Yes.
But did I nail it?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I know we got all the colors going.
We did, and we did not plan this. We did not.
Okay, and next up, our favorite Bachelorette, as well as an author, attorney, media personality, podcaster, and speaker, is currently a correspondent for Extra and co-host of the Ringer's Higher Learning and Morally Corrupt podcast. Last year, she authored a collection of essays titled Miss Me With That. And if you haven't read it, you are missing out. While we're at it, let's pick up her second book that she came out with. It's a fiction debut with, she recently announced a novel called Real Love. It's available March 7th, so y'all go get it. Please welcome to the stage, Rachel Lindsay.
Hi,
Hello.
Hello.
This is gonna be fun, y'all.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us. We are so happy to have you. We know you guys have a little connection too, as well.
We do. Actually, if you think about it, the connection is the connector is not here, which is my sister,
Right,
Shanae.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
But
In Texas.
in Texas.
In Texas. We got the Texas. You know, we love to tell everybody we're from
That you're
Texas.
from
Yes. If y'all didn't know, we're from Texas.
People from Texas like to tell people they're from
Yes,
Texas.
they do.
especially people from Houston. So
Real talk. Okay, so I want to first start with you, Rachel, in regards to your book, Miss Me With That, because I know that was something near and dear to you, and there was a lot of people that wanted to know. First off, why you named it. Well, we know why you named it that, but I want you to kind of go into that to start.
Yeah, so it was like a working title. I actually, sorry for my voice. You can tell I've been having a good weekend.
You've been having a good time.
But I was really looking forward to this. This is the thing I was looking forward to the most. But no, I was gonna call it more than a Bachelorette because it was the opportunity for me to tell my story for the first time without a camera, without people doing it for me. And I wanted to be real and raw in a way that people hadn't seen me before because I felt like everyone thought they knew who I was and I felt very misunderstood. But then earlier, when I was doing The Bachelorette, on social media, a lot of times people had a lot of negative things to say. They still do. And I wasn't used to that, so I used to clap back at every single person until it got out of control. And so eventually I just decided to ignore everything, and I was like, miss me with that. And I realized I say that a lot. I was saying it on the podcast a lot. And then if someone said to me, you should name your book that. And I thought, you know what? Exactly. Because I got a lot of things they can miss me with. Or they.
I know that's right. Okay, Nneka, so you are president of the WNBPA Association. I don't think a lot of people know. Well, yes, clap it up for that, because let's get it.
It's a big deal.
I don't think people really understand like the purpose and how important a PA is. So can you tell everybody about your role and just really how pivotal you are for the league?
yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it's not just me. And to be president, you got to be elected, and that requires a group of amazing, phenomenal women. So, when you enter the WNBA, you think, all right, hoop dreams, about to, make all my dreams come true. And you don't realize that there are protections and there are rights and there are benefits that you have to worry about, which a lot of times once you kind of make it out of your rookie contract, those things kind of become more of a reality. Initially, I was just a player representative, getting emails that I never really opened, I have to be honest. And eventually, we had to opt in or out of a CBA. And I was like, a CBA, what the hell is that, And I started understanding that we have a say when it comes to our rights as players and our protections as players. And eventually I was elected president. And with that, my job really is to just convey and communicate to the league and the board of governors what the players feel like they need to perform at their highest level. And so that requires a lot of education. It requires a lot of business acumen that, players don't necessarily have outside of, how contracts work. But it's been such a learning process. And I'm very grateful to be in this position because I found leadership in myself that I didn't know that I had because of so many phenomenal women that backed me to be able to know that I can do this job.
And you open your emails now.
I open my emails. I open my emails, yes, absolutely.
So do you feel like it's like a role that you've grown into over time, just figuring out exactly what it is and what purpose you serve there? Or did you know going in, like, I want to do this? Or do you feel like you were kind of more ushered?
Oh, I was definitely ushered. Yeah. I grew into it. Initially, the previous president was Nneka Ogwumike, and I was on the executive committee. And when she was retiring, I was like, oh, dang, we're not going to have a president anymore, And she pulled me to the side one day after we had played Indiana. That was the team she played for. And she was like, so I need you to run for president. And I was like, catch, what? Like, I really was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I said no several times. And then eventually when the elections came, I was like, okay, I got to do it. If Kat sees this in me, then maybe I can do something in this role. And that's kind of been the story of my life is I box myself in, and there's other people that are in my community that bust that box open. And so that's kind of how I feel this presidency has grown on me to a point now where I hope one day that I will not run unopposed and that it'll be a job that players seek to have.
Okay, so Rachel, as Atoya mentioned, you have a novel coming out here soon, March 7th, Real Love. What do you hope readers are gaining from this?
Well, so the idea for me for Real Love came because when I decided to do The Bachelorette, I really almost didn't do it. I was looking for everybody to tell me no, and weirdly enough, everyone was like, yeah, this is something that you should do. But two of my coworkers came into my office, and they said, you should do The Bachelor. And I remember I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And I always think about that moment because saying yes changed my life completely. And I use that moment to check myself all the time because I was in a place where I had come out of a bad relationship. I felt like I was plateauing in my career. I just didn't feel fulfilled. And I was checking every single box off the list, but I just didn't feel whole. And so I checked myself with that moment as I'm like living the life that I feel like I'm supposed to live, and I'm enjoying every single second of it, and I could have never dreamed this, but I almost said no. So the book is a fictionalized version of if I had said, well, Maya, that's her name, it's not me, Maya. If I had said no, and seeing the life play out in that way. And it is a romantic novel, it's women's fiction, but it really is about self-love. And so you watch Maya, the protagonist, go through this journey of self-discovery with herself, with her family, with her career, and she's really facing her fears, which is also something that I really dealt with too when I said yes, and it changed my life completely. So that's really the book, and I'm really proud of it because it really is about self-love, and that's something that I've really grown to care about and focus in these last few years.
I often think about when you go through something in life, usually something traumatic happens or you hit a low and then you realize I need to work on me. Did you guys have a moment like that where you were like, it's time for me to work on me and become better, from the inside out?
I 100% had a moment like that. And I think it's relative to everyone. I think it's important to give each other grace because everyone's trauma is not the same. Everyone's disappointments aren't the same. And for me, it manifested in my work and in something that happened in my career. And that was in 2021, when I had sprained my PCL, was on track to get back, but I wasn't selected for the USA team. And it was almost one of those situations where it's like, you can do everything right, you can listen to everyone, and they can say, hey, it's gonna work out. And at the end of the day, people still choose otherwise, And it could literally be laid out in the cards for you. But I have something that I always live by, and it's what's for me will not pass me. But it took me a really long time because I think a lot of Black women are the strong one in people's lives. And so I'm very much that person, not just because of me being a Black woman. I'm the first of 4 daughters. I'm the first of 4 Nigerian American daughters. I'm the oldest on my team now. And, I'm president. And so I'm someone who people feel should always, or people do feel always has their shit together. And so in that moment, I just felt like a dream of mine that I had worked decades for, that I thought would have worked out, did not. And I don't think I had ever felt any less valued in that moment, because everything just kind of moves on, you know? Everything kind of moves on, and people will always say, oh, well, you know, it's okay. Like, I don't like being the person that people are like, you can handle it because you're strong,
right.
You know? And I just wanted to punch everyone in the face that said that.
Real talk.
Because I'm like, no, I feel like being down.
Yes.
So like, who can help me? And finding the people that could help me figure out a new sense of my value and understand that I am important in my own different ways. And I also, people seek value in me in other different ways, was really huge for me in that moment. And I'm always grateful for my experiences. I always say that I don't ever regret anything, because at one point we wanted things that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And one of those moments was that summer. And I really just was cocooned by the people that always make me feel big, even when I felt my smallest. So I'm just really grateful, and most of them are Black women, so I'm very, very grateful for that.
It's good. It's really good. How about you, Rachel?
Pretty much that moment that I was talking about when those two coworkers walked into my office, because I, and maybe someone can relate to this, had planned out my entire life, and I was living it the way that I thought I was supposed to. And when that relationship ended, that I felt like I had spent 5 years of my life into, I realized I had defined myself by that relationship. And so I was at a place where I was very lost when that happened and when that ended, of kind of like what was next. And then when I turned to my career, and my career wasn't fulfilling me, I just kind of asked myself, whose life is it that I'm living? And I felt like I was doing everything I was told to do and I was supposed to do, but I wasn't doing it for me. And so it was at that point that I started to, well, I got a dog. and I think that really helped a lot too. But I started to just really focus on me and what it was that I wanted for myself and what were my desires. And it changed my life completely, because I was scared. Fear controls so much of what we do, and I didn't realize, because I'm like outspoken and I'm confident, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to. I didn't realize how scared I was. So that moment in my life really changed my mindset and my outlook on how I made decisions for myself.
How does it feel now, because you are on both sides of media, right? Like, you went from law into media, you're interviewing people, but then you also have the podcast where you really share a lot more about yourself, all the other dimensions of you. How has that been? Has that been welcoming, you know, social media, the fans, things of that nature?
Social media is just like, it's never welcoming. I mean, they ate me up the other day about Beyonce. I'm not gonna tell you what I said, because I don't want y'all to get mad at me.
You don't want no more smoke.
But I've just been through so much with Bachelor Nation and the things that have happened, and just staying true to who I am and calling out things that are wrong. That's kind of who I am as well. And you have to be fearless when you do that. So I welcome it. I love it. I love podcasting. It's one of my favorite things to do. It is the most freeing thing. I mean, you get it. That's what we're doing here. It's the most freeing thing that I do. And so it's really been a beautiful thing. And honestly is what I feel like gives me life with everything else that I'm going on. I know that when I come to podcasts, it's like family, and I'm like talking to my big brother. Our thought warriors are like our cousins. Yeah, so it's really been great.
And your podcast was nominated for an NAACP award, right?
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Voted close, but you know, hopefully we still get it.
So, okay, here's a question that I have. You know, when you think about everything you've given, right? You've done in your life, and then there's sacrifices that you make along the way. Do you ever feel like some of those sacrifices you wish you would not have made? Or do you feel like those sacrifices were important regardless of what I wanted the outcome to be?
I mean, you know, as I said, I don't regret anything, because at one point I wanted it. But I think honestly, it's very difficult for me, I guess now, to decipher what the sacrifice was, because of what is constantly asked of us. So to get certain places, you have to do certain things, and then you layer on being Black, being a woman, being in sport, all of these different things, and they turn from being sacrifices into like expectation. And so I think I'm not even sure if I have a very clear view on what a sacrifice is, because I've lived in a space where that's just kind of a part of my existence for so long. And I think understanding how I feel when I want to do things, how I feel when I have goals, how I feel around certain people, gives me more insight on what I put a boundary on. I guess like maybe boundaries is something that I'm really trying to own in this part of my life. But as far as sacrifice, I mean, whatever I did or didn't do got me here, and I'm very blessed. So just understanding now, like, okay, that's not a part of my value system. And maybe kind of connecting the dots to like, okay, what I did before that I realize now was not a part of my value system, that might have been a sacrifice that kept me from going somewhere or propelled me to go somewhere else. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got lost in what Nneka was saying. Didn't y'all? I was like, that was beautiful.
That was a word.
What was the question? No, I know the question. I really don't have much to add on to what you said, but I guess I'll be a little personal with y'all. I feel like I have sacrificed in my personal life. To be very honest, here's a little Inside Lines exclusive. I know that there are things that my husband Brian and we want, and I feel like I've been so career-oriented and focused on that I put that on the back burner, and I haven't prioritized my relationship or our future family the way that I know we want to. So in 2023, I have decided to prioritize that, and I have to say it out loud, because y'all have to check me.
Manifest it.
You have to call me out on it. But no, so I really feel like I have put that on the back burner, and I'm really making sure that I know there's no such thing as a balance. You don't have that work-life balance, and I've learned to accept that and just really go after the things that I know that I want and my husband wants and definitely my mother-in-law wants. So, so that's what I feel like I've sacrificed, and now I'm making it a priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing.
I'm going to ask the question to both of y'all, because I know, Rachel, you love sports as well, but what can we do or other people do to better support and advocate for women in sports?
Oh, watch.
Period. Like that's where you literally took, that's the thing. Cause like, so this is what I always tell people, especially like in 2020, you know, all of a sudden you had all these DEI people coming and asking you to talk, like, how can we be more conscious? And like, my thing is like, if you're not doing it at home, what makes you think you're gonna do it at work? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you want to understand more about the history of this country, of different people, and you're not doing that work at home, there's no curriculum at work that is going to make you want to do it anymore. So I guess like what I mean to say, and I'm not trying to be really intense, but what I mean to say is like exactly what Rachel just said. It's really not rocket science. You know, when people ask us, how do you invest in women in sport? How did you do it for the men? Mm-hmm. There's a blueprint, you know what I'm saying? So that to me is signaling that there is a want to. It's not that people don't have the resources or don't know how. Right. It's the want to. And so it's easy. Watch, buy a jersey, follow your favorite college athlete that is now professional on social media. It's not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. And it's very simple. You know, like even just buying a ticket to go to a game, buying season tickets. And a lot of times too, when you do that and then you bring one other person, a lot of times you're going to end up just creating a community of people that now add to that following. So, I mean, I'm sure you can go, I mean, I kind of interrupted you.
No, it's true. It's true. It is just that simple. Watch, support, talk about it with your friends. Have exactly what you do. We're going to gather together, watch the Super Bowl, go to the game, that kind of stuff. Put that same energy into women. Because I feel like, and we talk about this a lot on our podcast, we talk about not getting paid certain things, not having certain benefits. And then it's like, but if you're not supporting, then how is that going to change at the same time? So, yeah, no. You know I'm a supporter.
So here's a question for you guys. I know we've discussed this a few times today. Our theme is the route to becoming you. Right? So when you look back on your younger self and you think about where you are now and what you thought was important then, what would you say to your younger self?
Well, I would first say it's going to be okay, right? Because, you know, if I'm talking to my younger self to where I am now, you're going to have the ups and downs and it's a roller coaster, but just know, like, this too will pass. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And really, it goes back to something that I said when I was talking earlier about whose life is it that you're living, make sure that you're doing the things for you that benefit you and not for someone else. Because I was doing that for way too long.
When you ask this question, there's like, for some reason, like there's this thing that I do, like there's memes that pop in my head. And so when you ask that, the meme that popped in my, I don't know if anyone, first of all, I don't know if there are any other diasporic Africans in here, but there's a meme that came up and it was like this guy who was basically working out like a lot. And so like he walks into the house and he says like when African parents say that you've been working out too much, and the mom is saying, relax, it's enough. And like that to me is what I would tell my younger self. It's like, it's really not that serious. Like it's really not that serious. You end up worrying about things that do not happen. And so just giving myself the grace to enjoy myself is something that I would most certainly tell my younger self.
Oh, that's good. Ladies, thank you.
You guys, let's give it up for Nneka and Rachel. Thank you, ladies.